Hello Year 8, our focus for today is were alliances really to blame for World War One? And just a reminder of that keyword of alliance, that's promises between countries to help defend each other against attack. Okay, so today's lesson is going to focus on alliances. As I've said, how it will work today is that I am going to do almost sort of, chunks of teaching, and then I will do a little bit of teaching, so a sort of short video and explanation, then there will be a task, then I will do a little bit more teaching, and there will be a task. At the end of the video today, and once you finish the activities, the last thing I want you to do today is a quiz on Teams. And that quiz is going to just assess the learning so far on World War One. It's just going to check understanding on the 3 lessons that you have had on World War One so far. So that is how the lesson is set up for today. So before we start that, just like we did before on militarism, can you put A and alliances at the top of a new page, please? And add some mini pictures that show the meaning of the word alliances. Again, draw inspiration from these masterpieces if you need, or create your own doodles and pictures that show what the word alliances mean. So it's very visual and it is very clear to you. Underneath that, could you also add the keyword of neutral? If a country is neutral, they are not on anyone's side. Essentially, they're staying out of it. So if you can pause the video now to do those tasks, and then we can start the learning today. So in the late 19th and early 20th century, the major European powers started to make alliances. Why? Because they became fearful of each other. They became afraid of each other due to the rising amount of money spent on military power, which is what we covered last lesson. So the idea was that you would form alliances as a form of security to protect yourself. The idea of an alliance group was that when you formed an alliance group with other countries, if you were attacked, then the other people in that alliance group have to come to help you, have to support you and to help defend you. So many people who were afraid at that time of other countries felt that making alliances made them safer, certainly made them feel like they were safer. But this was due to a political belief in something called the balance of power. They actually felt alliances would make Europe safer and would put people off from wanting to attack each other. And the reason being that if you know that if you attack someone in an alliance group, that the whole group in their alliance, all the other countries in their alliance group will then start to attack you, that would put you off, because you would be a bit worried about that. You're like, well, I've got an argument with one person in the group, but if I take that person on, I'm then going to have to fight all of these people. So actually, maybe I'll leave it. And as long as you know that you're well supported, then you'll still feel secure. So the idea is that people would not want to attack anyone else because they would then get attacked by the other people in the group as well. So that would stop people from starting a war. So the belief in the balance of powers, that if everybody's in their alliance groups and everybody's got their allies, then there would be a balance to it. There'd be a balance to the groups. So as you can see in the cartoon here, Austria has attacked Serbia, but then rather than actually having a disagreement with Serbia, they're now being attacked by Russia, who is connected in an alliance to Serbia. So that is actually already, he's turning and thinking, oh, actually, this has become a bigger problem and a bigger fight than I thought. So the whole idea was that if you were in an alliance, then actually people would be put off starting a war because they wouldn't want to have to deal with everyone else in your alliance group. So now there is a short task. In your book, I would like you to complete this fill in the gaps activity. So pause the video and complete this task into your books, please. Okay, so what alliance systems were actually formed in Europe. What did Europe look like on the eve of World War I in 1914? Well, deeply divided. So by 1914, the powerful countries of Europe had formed two rival alliances, and you can see these clearly shown on the map. So the Triple Entente was one alliance group that was made up of Britain, France, and Russia, and the Triple Alliance, also known as the Central Powers Alliance Group, was made up of Germany, Austro-Hungary, and Italy. It also had an added ally of the Ottoman Empire. So two rival groups, and Europe is divided. As I said earlier in the lesson, they'd formed these alliances because they'd started to fear each other and their build-up of military power. So by 1914, Europe is very, very tense, and it is very, very divided. The other key thing that meant this situation was so dangerous was that because of the alliance system and how the agreement worked, a disagreement between two countries could blow up into a much bigger European war and a European conflict. So, for example, if Germany, in its part of the Triple Alliance, attacks Britain in the Triple Entente, its ally, Austro-Hungary, would be expected to back Germany up and to get involved to order to keep Germany on side and as an ally. But then Britain, if they are getting attacked by Germany and Austro-Hungary, would expect their allies of Britain and France to get involved and protect them. So even though something can start as an agreement between two countries, the very fact that if you are in an alliance group and you have to defend the people in your group, it's like you'll all pile in and have to get involved, and then the war goes from a disagreement between two to a full-scale European war. So this was what was really dangerous about the alliance systems. And this was the case that Europe was almost so tense by 1914 because this is the situation that Europe was in. But something else that is important to point out at this stage is this area in Europe here. So Serbia is in an area of Europe known as the Balkans. Now, Serbia is not part of either of these key alliance systems. However, Russia has a very close relationship with Serbia. They have had alliances to work together in the past. So they did have an alliance back in 1807, and they have very many similarities in terms of their culture, their ethnicity, and their languages. There's quite a large group of Serbians who live in Russia. So they're quite a key group there. So Russia feels a very protective position in relation to Serbia and the Balkans, and it's almost like they are allied, and Russia feels that it should protect and influence this region. And I want you to remember this because this is very, very important, because something is going to happen there that is going to be very important to this story. So Russia and Serbia very, very close, and Russia feels that they have a duty to protect the Balkans and Serbia because they're very close culturally and have very close very similar cultures. So remember that, because that is going to be important. So now your task, I would like you to copy this information into your book. What you have to know is which countries are in which alliance. So who is in the Triple Alliance, who is in the Triple Entente, and which country is neutral, in this case Belgium. That is essential that you know that. So I would also add colours to colour code this so it's really clear. Have one colour for the Triple Alliance, one colour for the Entente, and one colour for neutral, just as you see here. Please pause this video and copy this information into your book, please. Okay, so underneath your diagram, I would now like you to complete this short task, which is to answer the question of how did the alliance systems cause World War I? So I really want you to think, more about the dangerous side of having these alliances and how they contributed to the World War One starting. So for this, please use the sentence starters so that will support you. So you can start with the alliance system was meant to stop a war. So talk me through the theory of how it was supposed to work, or how they hoped it would work, first of all. But then, however, it made another war more likely because, and then it also turned a small war into a big war. Really try and focus how it could turn a disagreement between two countries into a disagreement between the whole of Europe, you know, how it could drag more people in. Try and get that over, or get that across in your answer. But if you could answer that in your book underneath your diagram, please. So pause the video and complete that now. Okay, everyone, final task. So in this fortnight, you've had 3 lessons on World War One so far: an introduction lesson, a lesson on militarism, and a lesson on alliances. I would now like you to complete a quiz on teams, which is going to assess what you've understood so far. So please complete the quiz on teams, and this marks the end of today's lesson. Thank you for all your work in the past fortnight. Good luck with the quiz, and I will get those marked and returned to you as soon as possible.